whether you heard me.
Yeah, we all did.
I think that I've now, at 63 years old, suddenly owned that.
To as Sarah Ferguson. As for Andrew, he will keep the title of Prince since he is the son of the late Queen Elizabeth II.
Activities that may or may not have been going on at Sandringham while hosting this party,
A red-eye flight, no press notice, no schedule, just silence, the kind that only happens when something's gone very wrong. Harry wasn't heading to the UK for a reunion. This was damage control, because Sarah Ferguson's name just landed in the middle of a storm, and it came with receipts. Here's what we know. Prince Harry departed Los Angeles late December 29th on a private charter. No official statement from Archewell, no royal diary entry, just flight records and one very tight circle of people who knew he was coming. The trigger? A rumour that escalated overnight. Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, reportedly has access to old photographs of Meghan Markle.
Right now, it's a tell-all book, and that's what she's using to threaten the royal family. But you would think that...
Not just any photos, yacht photos, images allegedly from Meghan's pre-royal life, now being positioned as leverage in a narrative that ties back to Prince Andrew. And if you know anything about Harry's relationship with that name, you know why this isn't just gossip. This is a crisis. The leak didn't come from Sarah directly. It came through a channel, an intermediary close enough to the York family to know what Sarah has access to.
The truth about how she really met Meghan. The truth about the private moments the public never saw. The truth about the circles they both...
But distant enough to float it without her fingerprints. That's how palace-adjacent warfare works. You don't go public first. You let someone know you could. And the message Harry received wasn't vague. It was specific. Sarah has material, not rumours, material. And the framing wasn't about Meghan's past work as an actress or a briefcase model. It was about timelines, locations, and one very uncomfortable proximity to Andrew's own social circle in that era. To understand why this is a crisis and not just tabloid noise, you need to understand two things. Harry has spent years publicly separating himself from Andrew.
The truth about the circles they both moved in long before Meghan married Harry, and most importantly...
After the Epstein scandal, Harry made it clear through silence, through distance, through carefully timed statements that he wanted no association with that chapter of royal history. He condemned the behaviour. He supported the institution's decision to sideline Andrew. And crucially, he built his entire post-royal brand around protecting Meghan from exactly this kind of attack. Meghan's pre-royal life has always been fair game for tabloids, but it's been managed. The briefcase girl narrative, the yacht appearances, the lifestyle blog, it's all been framed as actress hustling in Hollywood. Uncomfortable? Sure. Damaging? Not really. But the moment you add Andrew's name to that timeline, the story shifts.
And managed to reinvent herself time after time.
Was that something you saw as a fault?
It's no longer about Meghan's past. It's about Harry's judgment. It's about what he knew. And once that question is in the air, the headlines write themselves. So here's how it unfolded. Chatter begins circulating in royal correspondence circles. Not mainstream outlets yet, just whispers in group chats and signal threads. The language is careful, but the implication is clear. Sarah Ferguson is sitting on something. And it involves Meghan afternoon California time. Harry's team is contacted. We don't know by whom. We don't know the exact wording. But what we do know is this. Within hours, a private jet is booked. No statement, no explanation, just movement. Harry is on UK soil. That is not the timeline of someone visiting family. That is the timeline of someone trying to get ahead of a story before it breaks. And the speed tells you everything. Because if this were just old photos resurfacing, you ride it out. You issue a statement, you let it trend and die.
Being wrong seemed far-fetched. However, as time went on, her choice of clothing...
But if this is Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, threatening to go public with imagery that ties Meghan to Andrew's social world during the years that are now under the most intense scrutiny, you don't wait, you fly. Here's the question no one's asking out loud. Why Sarah Ferguson? She's not in the inner circle anymore. She's not a working royal. She doesn't brief the press the way palace aides do. But she has two things that make her dangerous in this moment. One, proximity to Andrew. She still lives at Royal Lodge. She still coordinates with him. She still moves in the same social ecosystem he did. During the years these photos allegedly come from too. She has nothing left to lose. Her reputation has been rebuilt through charity work and public sympathy. But she's never fully been welcomed back. She's still the outsider. And that makes her unpredictable. If she believes releasing these images serves her interests, whether that's protecting Andrew, pressuring the palace, or simply staying relevant, she'll do it. And Harry knows that. Because Sarah doesn't leak for chaos. She leaks for leverage. And if she's letting it be known she has something, it's because she wants something in return. Let's be clear about what's actually being threatened here. The yacht photos aren't new. They've been online for years.
Future. News no one saw coming. And news that now casts a long shadow over the days ahead.
Meghan worked yacht parties as a promotional model in her early career. That's documented, that's public. The photos show her at events in cocktail dresses, doing the kind of work hundreds of models and actresses do to pay rent in Los Angeles. So why does this matter now? Because it's not about the photos, it's about the framing. If Sarah releases these images and ties them to Andrew's social circle, the story becomes Meghan was in the same world as Andrew during the years he's now being held accountable for. It doesn't matter if Meghan never met Andrew. It doesn't matter if there's zero evidence of overlap. The proximity is the weapon. And once that association is made, the tabloids don't need proof. They just need the question, what did Harry know about Meghan's past connections? That's not a question you answer with a statement. That's a question that follows you. Here's why this is checkmate for Harry. His entire post-royal narrative has been built on two pillars: protecting Meghan from the institution that failed Diana and drawing a moral line in the sand around accountability, especially Andrew's. He wrote about it in Spare. He talked about it in interviews. He made it clear he's on the side of transparency, consequences, and protecting women from powerful men who abuse their positions. So if these photos surface and get tied to Andrew's world, Harry doesn't just face tabloid mockery. He faces a credibility collapse. His critics will say, "You spent years attacking the institution for enabling Andrew, and your own wife was adjacent to that same world." It doesn't matter that the timeline doesn't add up. It doesn't matter that Meghan's work was legitimate. The optics are poison. And Harry knows that once the image is out there, the clarifications don't matter. Because the internet doesn't read corrections. It screenshots the accusation. Here's the truth Harry's facing right now. There's no winning move here. If he stays silent, the photos leak, the story runs, and he's forced to respond from a defensive position. If he engages, he legitimizes the story and gives it oxygen. If he tries to negotiate with Sarah or whoever's holding the material, he's now negotiating with someone who's proven they'll use private information as leverage. And if he goes public first, he has to explain something that should never need explaining. That his wife worked yacht parties as a model in her 20s, and that has zero connection to Andrew's crimes. But the moment he's explaining it, he's already lost. Because you don't explain away a smear, you survive it. And this trip to the UK, this isn't about reconciliation. It's not about healing. It's about containment.
Just a man, a camera, and an audience in the millions. And then he did it. Piers brought